What we're going to be doing here is a UV unwrap on the infamous boot character. This boot model here represents a organic model, which is not necessarily very easy to UV unwrap. It's got some issues here. It's got some folds and some things that are going to give us some problems, but we're going to do I'm going to show you some methods and how to do a pretty effective UV unwrap. The first thing we're going to want to do is to identify where the border edges. Usually when we start out, your UV border edges are not where you want them to be. So we're going to go into Display, Polygons, and go down to the bottom of Custom Polygon Display. This is going to bring up a window here, and we're going to see up. Here we go. Right here we want to check this box, Texture Borders, and apply. Now, as you can see, there's texture borders. They're shown by the thicker line, and they're all over the place, and we really don't want texture borders everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate these texture borders here. So I have the object selected. I'm going to go to Select and Convert Selected to Edges. There we go. So that converted all of those selections to edges. It depends. If you have vertices selected, it'll convert the selection to edges. Now we want to go into our UV editor, our UV texture editor, which is Windows. Where are we? UV texture editor, right there. And we're just going to leave this open, and we can scroll back, and you should be familiar with the UV texture editor by now. And as you can see, this boot UV unwrap doesn't make any sense at all. Really, it's not really going to give us a effective UV unwrap, but we want to get rid of those texture edges right now. So what I'm going to do is in the UV texture editor, I'm going to go to Polygons and just go to Move and Sew Edges. And that's just going to explode it. And you think, well, what good does that do? But actually what this is going to do is we're going to just clean this up. So I'm going to right click and select UV, so I can select a UV. Oops. I'm going to select a UV here. There we go. Where are we? Come on, we can have to select a UV here. Why isn't this working here? And we want to select just a UV. Oh, there we go. It's selected one right there. And then I'm going to go to Select and select Shell. And that's selected everything. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale this messy UV unwrap down. And the scale, if I press R, that'll give me the scale tool. And I'm going to scale it down to a manageable size, so we can kind of see what's going on here. Let's move it into the 0 to 1 space here. Zoom in a little bit, like so, and just scale it down, like so. Now we're going to clean this up. Okay, so as you can see, if I were to just select something here, select Shell, and go do an unwrap, it's unfold, excuse me, it's not going to really do anything really effective. Let's just see what this did. When you do an unfold, usually what happens is that it shrinks down, and that's just a Maya bug thing. Don't let that worry you too much. It's just something you got to deal with. And as you can see, the unfold really didn't do anything very effective. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go undo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to manually, let's minimize this, I'm going to go in manually define where my border edges are. So in the display, I'm going to go to the object, go to Edge. And the first border edge I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the sole of this shoe from the top of the shoe here and create a border edge. And so I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to find a good border edge. And let's just do this one right here. And if I double click, luckily it selected the whole edge loop all the way around. This was a continuous edge loop. Had it not been a continuous edge loop, you would have had to go around and select that whole edge loop to separate it out, like so. So I've selected what I want to do is I'm going to separate the UV unwrap the sole of this shoe, this section, from this top part. So let's go back into the UV texture editor, go into polygons, and we're going to cut UV edges. Now, as you can see here, let's just minimize this down here so we can kind of see what's going on. That made a thicker line, and what that did is it separated in here. You can't see it because it's all folded up in here, but it had defined a border edge. So I'm going to go into UVs, and I'm going to select a UV in here, and it's selected the same UV in the UV texture editor, and I'm going to go select shell, and that selected that whole section that I separated it out, and I'm going to go move that out of the way there. Okay, let's go and just take a look and see what we've got. Let's make this a little bigger here so we can see what we're doing. And as you can see, let's just scale this up. Again, oops, this doesn't really make a heck of a lot of sense, but you can see where the border edge is here. That is that border edge that I defined here, and it's just one border edge. So with this still selected, I'm going to go into polygons, and now I'm going to do an unfold. And again, that just shrunk it down, and it's down over here. And what I want to do is I just want to press R, and that'll center it down to where it shrunk down, and then I have to scale it back up again. You might have to do this a few times. It's not the easiest thing to do, but there we go. And this didn't actually do exactly what I wanted to do. This didn't really do what I expected it. And what I'm going to do is I want to see where that border edge is. So with it still selected, I'm going to go select shell border. And what that does is that selected what is the border edge here. And I'm seeing something that's not really making a heck of a lot of sense. It seems to be more border edge than I bargained for here. So I'm going to have to figure out. Let's just see what happens if I do another unfold. Let's select the whole thing, select shell, and go unfold. And let's just center that to where it is and scale it up like so, and see what we've got here. And there's something going on here that doesn't really make much sense here. It doesn't look like my border edge was defined properly, so I'm going to have to figure this out. So let's just go, I'm going to undo all of that and go back to where we were before. And so we have our border edge. I'm going to try maybe to define another border edge. If I go to edge, let's just see if that's going to be any better. We should only have this border edge defined, and we're going to go into here. Just make sure that we have that selected there, and go to polygons and cut UV edges, and that made a border edge like we were intending it to do. Oops. So what I'm going to do here is go into this, go into UVs. I'm going to select a UV, go to select, oops, I'm in the wrong one. I'm going to go to select shell, and let's just see what that did here. Now if we scale that up, like so. And let's just kind of go and try to see if we can make this into a clean looking model here. So now I have all that selected again. Let's go to polygons and unfold. And again, that's going to make it real small again. And then I'm going to press R and then scale this up. There we go. This is looking a little bit better. It's still a little curly, and you see that it's gotten some, there's some geometry sort of folding up on itself. But we're just I'm gonna go do and see if I can fix that a little bit. And let's just go do a couple of functions. Let's go do a relax. And that kind of helped it out a little bit. It's still doing some weirdness here. Again, we're going to try to fix that. So with this selected, I'm going to go select shell border, and let's try to kind of spread that out a little bit. Let's do an unfold. There we go. That's a little better here. And let's see if we can. Let's scale that up a little bit like that. So, you know, this is kind of what happens when you get a complex shape and the unfold is just not really doing. Sometimes it'll unfold exactly like you want it, and then sometimes it will not. And we just have to sort of figure out why that's happening. Now let's just let's see if we can do a relax on that. Well, that kind of fixed that up a little bit, but we still have to fix this part up here. So what I'm going to do with that selected, I'm going to bring all this out and see if we can maybe kind of manually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go manually fix all these little sections here, and this could take a little bit of time, but it could be somewhat tedious, but it's just something that sometimes you have to do. And I'm just going to bring that out. I'm just going to go untwist this up here, and let's move that one up there. Move that one up there, and let's just kind of move these down out of the way like so. And this is the boring, tedious part of UV unwrapping. No, that's not what I wanted. I grabbed the wrong one. Sometimes you have to kind of go in and make sure that you have the right UV selected, and I know I don't have it, so I apologize. This is taking me a little. There we go. That's right there. And let's grab that one. No. And let's just get in a little closer here. There we go. And I don't want to spend too much time doing this. One more like that.